Hey guys, Mike Webb here in Anderson, Indiana. 45 years old. I'm married for 23 years. Got two daughters, a 13-year-old and a 21-month-old. And man, I want to be a part of the From the Ground Up project. I'd really love to join you guys. I've been watching for the last few years. Didn't know about it the first year, and then a friend of mine introduced me to what you guys do the second year. I applied, didn't get in, but um, obviously, you guys know that. But man, I've been thinking about it ever since then. And so I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself with the answers to the three questions you guys have asked. Um, who inspires me? I want to say my dad. It's really hard to narrow down. There's so many people. I'm the kind of person I look to a lot of the people in my life for inspiration. I'm very driven and dream oriented, goal oriented guy. But my dad, when I was a kid, he was a doctor, super busy, on call all the time, had six kids, and still always made time to keep himself healthy and to pursue the things that he wanted to do. So when he was in his 30s, got into running and pushed himself to grow as a runner until he could do marathons, and then proceeded to do just really well. I think his fastest marathon was like under 3.5 hours, close to 3 hours or something like that. But as a, just an amateur guy in his middle age, just pushed and pushed and pushed himself. And I just remember watching him as a kid thinking, man, this guy is driven. And I tried to get into running with him and doing some things, and sort of enjoyed it, but always just never really quite developed the dream. But he's just always been such an inspiration in my life because he is a great dad, he's a great husband, and he pushes himself in the things that he wants to achieve in life. And I've just always admired that about him. Why do I want to be a part of From the Ground Up? I've always been impressed by physical challenges. I've tried my hand at running for a lot of years. I still run very regularly. I do about 30 to 40 miles a week or so. You'll see behind me, I got a triathlon bike hanging on the wall. Several years ago, I got interested in doing triathlons, and I've pushed myself to do that. You'll see in some of my written responses, I've done I've done a handful of triathlons with some road biking. But that said, I have always felt like a beginner on the bike. I always, even in my training for Ironman and half Ironman, I did the minimum amount of cycling to be able to cover the miles on the road. And it's not because I don't love it. I do love it so much. I just have never, for whatever reason, developed a sense of confidence on the road. I've had a handful of friends who are great at cycling, and I've always admired them and wanted to join them in group rides. I've wanted to get involved, and I've just lacked confidence. And I talked about this year of adventure thing that I did a couple of years ago, running a lot of races and doing a few triathlons. I even tried a gravel race that year, and I had to drop out halfway through. It was a 100-mile race. At 50 miles, I had such cramps, and I just didn't have the confidence to keep going. And so I've tried my hand at cycling. I love being on the bike, but I've just never gotten to the point where I feel like I can get past being a beginner. And I've done a handful of long rides on roads, never done any mountain biking. I tried gravel riding and didn't do so well. And I love what you guys are doing with beginner riders and turning them into part of the cycling community. And I want to experience that. I want to do the camp, but beyond the camp, I want to be a part of training with you guys, learning from you guys how to really become a cyclist. And the race sounds amazing. I was so glad to see that you guys are doing the road or the gravel ride this year, because for me, that's something I just want to redeem. So last question, at the 90-mile mark and 90 degrees, can't go another inch, what would I do? Well, one of the things I've learned over the last couple of years of pushing myself physically is mental toughness. And one of the things that I do when I get to a rough patch in a race or a rough patch in training, is I do some deep breathing. That may sound simple, but I'm a big fan of Wim Hof and do, the cold exposure and breathing and all that. But I just find when I can focus on my breath, even if I just have to pause for a minute, take a few deep breaths and center myself and ground myself where I am, kind of take in my surroundings, it gives me that extra bit of oomph to keep pushing. I didn't do so well on the half Ironman that I tried, mostly because when I got off the bike after 56 miles, I was so exhausted. I started cramping like crazy during the run, but I finished. I kept pushing myself, and I didn't think I could do it because my legs were stiff and cramped, but I just kept going. I wouldn't let myself quit. That wasn't true in the gravel race. Because I just lacked so much confidence. But since that time, after that failure, I've learned to really focus my thoughts, center my body, ground myself in my breathing, so I can go that extra mile, that extra inch, that extra step, that extra stroke on the bike. So that's what I would do. I'd take a couple of moments and just do some deep breathing. All that said, I love what you guys are doing. I really want to be a part of it. I hope you pick me. And if you don't, I wish you all well still, and I'll still be watching as a fan, and I'm going to keep riding. Hopefully one of these days I'll get past that beginner phase and really feel like a cyclist, and I hope it's with you guys.